What's up, y'all? Hey, it's Toby D. Hey, welcome to another Pound for Pound ATL Think Tank. And you already know, if we think about it, we're going to talk about it. And today, man, I'm going to just stick with the theme as I've been doing all off season with the ones that I've been doing. If you guys have been keeping up with the think tanks I've been doing, it's been all about Arthur Smith and Matt Ryan. Mainly Arthur Smith, because Arthur Smith, although he does have some ingredients to become a great coach in the NFL, it still will remain to be seen. But one thing we know now for sure, with him being reluctantly putting information out there, he's excited about Matt Ryan. Now, I know some people was not excited about Matt Ryan. He's going on 36 years old. A lot of people will say he's lost a little bit. If the rumors are true, what Julio Jones has been saying, that Matt Ryan has lost some touch on his deep ball, and things are just not clicking there. He wants to go somewhere else with a guy he feels that can sling it deep. Then, hey, it just is what it is. But I'm going to tell you right now, I have advocated for Matt Ryan to stay with the Falcons and to be the Falcons starter for 2021. They did not take a quarterback, of course, you guys know. And if you watch that Chris Collinsworth interview with Arthur Smith, I would have to say that has been one of the most detailed, informative videos or shows that Arthur Smith has done since he's been a head coach. I mean, you got to admit, even with information coming out about certain things, it's still not a lot of information that's really been leaking out with Arthur Smith. He's been keeping everything concealed as much as he could, and even being reluctantly, as far as giving information to Chris Collinsworth, it was like at times pulling teeth from Arthur Smith trying to get information that you were trying to get. But I'm going to tell you, I thought about a coach that Arthur Smith worked with early on in his career, and his name is Joe Gibbs. I don't think Joe Gibbs gets a lot of credit for what he has been able to do in the NFL. You take three different quarterbacks at different times and win Super Bowl with them. That is a huge, impressive thing to do right now, and you haven't seen that in the NFL and at all that I remember. But he's been a guy that's been able to do that for the Washington Redskins, formerly known as the Washington Redskins, now known as the Washington Football Team. And the way that he's been able to get what he needs out of his quarterbacks to have the success that he's had, I mean, there's a lot to say about that. And the track record goes beyond just winning Super Bowls with those quarterbacks that he's won with. I mean, you think about Jason Campbell coming there. Jason Campbell had already been in the league for a couple of years after his rookie season. And you got this guy, Joe Gibbs, comes back into the league in 2007 and helps this team get to the playoffs. That's very impressive, guys. And I'm wondering if Arthur Smith could do the same thing and lead that same similar path when it comes to getting what he needs out of these quarterbacks. As you guys know, he was with Marcus Mariota for a short time. Now, he didn't throw Marcus Mariota under the bus. He said he was a great guy, but it really clicked when Ryan Tannehill came near to the Tennessee Titans and was able to produce the way he did 2 seasons under Arthur Smith, in his only 2 seasons calling an offense. And you have to imagine that he's feeling even better about 36-year-old Matt Ryan. And I think him and Matt Ryan are going to have a lot more success than what people think in the first year. Now, yes, it is noted that history has shown that Matt Ryan has struggled with first-time offensive coordinators, but I do not believe that this will be the case. You got a guy, if you read the story on Matt Ryan, he talked about a lot of things are very familiar with what he's done with other systems when it comes to the Arthur Smith system. And it's not just a West Coast system. A lot of people want to tag it automatically as a West Coast system. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a multiplicity of systems that Arthur Smith runs because of all the things that he has learned over the years from guys like Mike Mularkey, Matt LaFleur, and Terry Robinski. He has taken all of those systems and combined them into one. And Matt Ryan is definitely, to me, looks like on paper he's going to thrive, because Matt Ryan tells us that He's familiar with a lot of stuff that Arthur Smith is doing because of the carryover from a lot of those systems and the same people that they know that Arthur Smith is bringing into the playbook. And I think this playbook is really going to be even more expanded than what Ryan Tannehill was able to do because of the intelligence of Matt Ryan. And you can tell when you look at some of these photos, if you dug into the photos during the OTAs, you already see Matt Ryan directing guys in the direction he needs them to go in as far as what he needs them to do on certain routes and all of that stuff. This is a guy that got the playbook as early as he could so that he could learn the language and get that language down so that by the time OTA started, guys, he was ready to roll and being able to help understand what Arthur Smith and that coaching staff wanted to do and to be able to translate that and relay that to his players to get them to do now what he needs them to do. And you see him and Arthur Smith both doing the same thing. I think these guys are already going to be on the same page. And I'm looking forward to a lot more no-huddle under Arthur Smith. A lot of people may know this, they may not know this, but Arthur Smith and the Tennessee Titans ran the third most no-huddle behind only Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. Guys, that's a lot more than Matt Ryan has run in a long time, because Dirk Koetter didn't run a lot of no-huddle last year. So to run that much no-huddle, that tells me right there, Matt Ryan should automatically be able to gain the trust of Arthur Smith and take a lot of weight off Arthur Smith. Both of these guys calling plays or running a no-huddle together, being on the same page, reading these defenses and understanding what the defenses are trying to do, and they should both excel together. So I'm excited about that, man. I mean, listen, like I said, you didn't take a quarterback, but I got many reasons why you don't take one. With the information that Arthur Smith was able to gather from guys like Mike Mularkey, Terry Rubinsky, Matt LaFleur, Justin Peel, who is now the tight ends coach for the Atlanta Falcons, Dave Brock, who is still the wide receivers coach, who was carried over to this regime for the Atlanta Falcons. You have all of that information. Of course, you're going to stick with Matt Ryan. Now, if Trevor Lawrence falls at 4, which we know that wasn't going to happen, we might have a different story to tell today. And even if Trey Lance, I still believe to this day, 49ers jumped the Atlanta Falcons because they knew the Falcons could be in play for Trey Lance, and they took Trey Lance so that we weren't able to get him. But I will take a guy like Kyle Pitts to work with Matt Ryan. And now you got Hayden Hurst, and a lot of people are not even talking about Jaden Graham, whom, for whatever reason, Dirk Koetter did not use a lot of in 2020. And here's an interesting stat that a lot of people don't talk about. Matt Ryan led the league in passes of 20 yards. Now, I'm going to tell you how exciting that is when you're going to now add a 12 personnel, which is 1 running back and 2 tight ends in there. This is where tight ends rule the world with them 20-yard passes. And when you got a quarterback that excelled in that last season, even though it may not have looked like it because we didn't have the season that we would have liked to have had, man, you have to be excited to pair that with Matt Ryan and watch what he's going to be potentially be able to do with guys like Hayden Hurst and Kyle Pitts, who are right now at the tight end university summit, led by Travis Kelce and George Kittle. And so that's pretty huge to be with so many popular tight ends who are having success in the NFL, to see and pick their brains. And they're going to bring that information back to Matt Ryan and watch what this team could potentially do with guys like Calvin Ridley, who is going into his 4th year, and Russell Gage, who I am ultimately excited about. I think he's going to be a great number 2 option to Matt Ryan, especially in that 12 personnel. I look for that 12 personnel to go up more than the 36% that it was last season when Arthur Smith was over there with the Tennessee Titans. But I'm also hoping, because Arthur Smith has taken this gamble to utilize Matt Ryan at the age he is in, when many did not agree, and many would call this now a rebuild season because Julio Jones is now gone to the Tennessee Titans. I do not believe in a rebuild one bit, even with Julio Jones gone. And one thing Joe Gibbs was very good at is running that football and using 2 tight end sets, which Arthur Smith uses, and also understanding and being able to utilize the personnel that he has in there. I don't think a lot of people understand how this guy took replacement players, okay, not even his players, and was able to get the most out of them to win enough games until his guys were able to come back off the lockout during that season and to ultimately go and win a Super Bowl. Now, I believe that was the year that Doug Williams was the one who took over, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl that season for Joe Gibbs. I'm telling you, man, I really feel like that the things that Arthur Smith was able to take from Joe Gibbs is starting to translate into what he wants to do, especially getting the most out of the quarterbacks that he has so far been with, especially Ryan Tannehill. And I'm excited to see what him and Matt Ryan are able to put together as you continue to see these guys grow and what they're going to be able to do in the 2021 season. Now, I don't have too much more to say about that. I just want to come on here and talk about how I believe that Arthur Smith and Matt Ryan are going to be a great tandem together. I mean, 36-year-old and a 38-year-old, not too older than each other. I think you're going to see more than just a coach to player relationship. It's going to be a partnership between these guys, and they could potentially wreck some defensive lives in 2021. And I'm looking forward to it, and I believe you are too. Even though some of you don't want to admit it deep down inside, you're looking forward to see what Arthur Smith is going to be able to do with a guy like Matt Ryan. Other than that, hey, this is Pound for Pounds Think Tank. I'm Toby D. Peace. I'm out.